Hey Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Capnclydes MTG. Today, we're in for more Commander Masters. We've got a slew of leaks. Not so hot. We'll give you my take at the end and probably during the talk too because I just can't shut up. But before we get started, don't forget comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. The comments down below are going to feed that YouTube algorithm. It keeps the channel sponsor free and I love to do it. So, we got a lot to go over, so let's just run through it as we start with the leaks from today. So today we have Nesting Dragon from yesterday or this morning. It was Asian. Anyway, 2 red and 3 flying landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, create an 0-2 red dragon egg creature token with Defender. When this creature dies, you get to create a 2-2 red dragon creature token with flying. And for 1 red, this creature gets +1/+1/+0. Basically making 2-2 dragon whelps. Pretty sweet. Kind of like a dragon whelp / rook egg. Not too bad of a rare. Not worth a whole lot, though. But anyway, moving on. That's right. We have the Gear Hulk. It's back. No need to translate this. It's 6 mana. It's 5/6. It has flash. And you can cast an instant from your graveyard for free once you cast it. It's an okay rare. Going to be good for draft, but not really that necessary. Next we have Morophon, the Boundless. So this is a very popular one from, oh god, what the hell was the set? Modern Horizons. Legendary creature Shapeshifter. It's a changeling. When it enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. Spells of the chosen type cost Wooburg less to cast. This effect reduces only the amount of colored mana, not colorless. Other creatures you control the chosen type also get +1/+1. It became a very popular commander. I'm glad to see it in here, and I kind of figured it would be in here in a commander-heavy set, because it did make a serious splash when it came into the set, because you can play any color you want with this card. Alright, moving on. Next we have Sai, Master Thopterist. Dollar at best. Blue and 2 is a 1/4. You cast an artifact, get a 1/1. Blue and 1, you can sack 2 of them to draw a card. No one really cares. Good for sealed, decent card, but not worth anything. Next we have Fiery Confluence, 2 red and 2 sorcery. Choose 3 and you may choose a mode more than once. 1 damage to each creature, 2 damage to each opponent, or destroy an artifact. Very good card, has multiple effects, great play card. Again, not worth a whole lot, but I think it's going to see a lot of play because of the ability to have options. Next we have, oh, I didn't translate this. I'm not even going to go there. You know it. I know it. If you don't know it, this is the Thran Dynamo. 4 colorless artifact that comes into play, taps for 3 colorless. Comes into play untapped, so you lose a mana to start with, but you gain 3 after that. Kind of more of an investment rock. Not played real heavily, though, but still okay. Next, we have good old Chromatic Lantern. We knew this was probably going to be in here. It's in almost every commander deck as a rock. 3 colorless mana. Your land's tapped for any color, plus it adds a mana. Great card. Unfortunately, reprinted into the oblivion and worth nothing. Kindred Dominance, 2 black and 5. Choose a creature type. Destroy all creatures that aren't the type that was chosen. Very popular. Wrath in black is kind of expensive. Doesn't see a whole lot of play, but it's okay. It's a dollar rare. Next we have Ghoulcaller Gissa. 2 black and 3 for a 3/4. Black, sacrifice, tap and sacrifice another creature. You get X 2/2 zombies, where X is the creature's power. Basically taking a 2/2 zombie and making 2 2/2s, and then 2 more 2/2s, and 2 more 2/2s, until you like something really big and you tap and sacrifice it and make a damn horde and win the game. Again, though, only a dollar rare at best, unfortunately. Next, we have Heartless Hizigu. 2 red, 3 for a 4/3. Tap, deals damage to target player equal to half that player's life total rounded down. It was a dollar before this printing. It's going to be less than a dollar after the printing. Next, we have the Immortal Sun. Here's a pretty decent mythic. 6 colorless players can activate Planeswalker abilities. Beginning of your upkeep, get to draw an additional card. Spells cost 1 less to cast, and your creatures get +1/+1, but it does cost 6. Was very popular, worth a lot of money. Not seeing that kind of money now. I think at best it's like $10. Moving on. Next we have Commandeer. 2 blue and 5 instant. You remove 2 blue cards from your hand in the game rather than play this mana cost. Gain control of target non-creature spell. You may choose new targets. Very interesting. Doesn't see a whole lot of play. Is cool. Free casting always is. But still only around $1. Next, we have Stormsurge Kraken. 2 blue and 3 for a hexproofer lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, it gets +2/+2 has whenever it becomes blocked. You may draw 2 cards. Not too bad. $1 rare at best. So, finale of Devastation. We got some new art for it, but it's still a goodie. 2 green and X, sorcery. Search your library graveyard for a creature card. Convert a mana cost to X or less. Put it on the battlefield. If you search your library this way, you shuffle it. If X is 10 or more, creatures you control get +X/+X and gain haste till end of turn. Came on the scene and became a very popular card in the older formats, in Elves and other decks like that. One of the few cards worth a little bit of money, but I think it's only around $10. Next we have Nekasor, the Mind Razor. Red, black, blue, and 2 for a 2/4 legendary creature, zombie wizard. Beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Whenever an opponent draws a card, the Mind Razor deals 1 damage to that player. $1 rare at best. It's a 2/4 creature with a built-in Howling Mind / Abysmal Nightmare Dreams. I don't know. It's not all that great. It's cool though. Nice picture. We have the Experimental Cryge. I guess some oozy thing. Anyway, 2 blue, 2 green, 2 colorless for a 4/6. It has all the activated abilities. It has all activated abilities of each other creature with a +1/+1 counter on it. Tap, put a counter on target creature. I mean, it's cool, but for 6, it's still just $1 rare. Next, we have Orang Frostfang. This 2 green, 3 colorless, 2/6. Attacking creatures you control have Death Touch. Whenever creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. This very popular card in Commander has been looking for a reprint, and here it is, like we said it would be. It was a $40 card, but this is probably going to drive down to $20 or $10 range at best. But hey, you get more of it so you can play it. Good old Galta. That's right. If you don't know what this says, it's just Galta. 2 green and 10 for a 12/12 trampler. You know, that costs X less colorless to cast, depending on the total power of creatures you have in play. You know, so if you got 10 power creatures in play, for 2 green, you get 12/12 trampler. Seems fair. $1 rare. It's fine. Godo, Bandit Warlord. This thing's been reprinted multiple times and is worth nothing. A red and 5 for a 3/3. When he enters the battlefield, search your library for an equipment card. Put it on the battlefield. If you do, shuffle your library. When Godo attacks, for the first time each turn, untap it and all samurai you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. It's kind of funny how this is a human barbarian, but it untaps samurai. I don't get it. Anyway, moving on. Next, we have the Boom Pile. 4 colorless. You get to tap it, flip a coin. If you win, destroy all non-land permanents. It's like Neverdarrel's Disc. That has a short circuit in it. $1 rare at best. Doesn't see a whole lot of play. Still cool though. I like it. Nice picture. Yes. The Big Fat Dragon. $1 rare. It's never really been worth that much. It's 3 red and 4 for a 7/7. It has flying, obviously. When you attack with it, you can do 4 damage to one thing, 3 damage to 2 others. It's really cool, but doesn't see a whole lot of play, and it's not really worth a whole much of anything, honestly. Anyway, moving on. Heroic Intervention gets a reprint because this thing is still obviously worth too much money. This drives the card price of this down to less than $20 into the $10 range from speculation, which means it's probably going to be $5 by the time it's all said and done. But still a great card, definitely a Commander staple, and should be in the set. Glad to see it here. Next, we have Rogue's Passage, because nobody ever said they wanted this, but good combo piece to slip in some creatures, not bad at uncommon. We also have Ulamog's Crusher, like I said, more Eldrazi. 8 colorless common, 8/8, an Alligator 2, attacks every combat, so forth and so on. Next we have Piana Nomad Captain, 2 white and 1 for a 2/2. Whenever the captain attacks, attacking creatures get +1/+1 in a turn. A fine uncommon for draft, but it's probably about as far as this little fellow's going. All right, we have Rishkar, Pima Renegade, green and 2 for a 2/2. When it comes into play, put a +1/+1 counter on 2 target creatures. Any creature with a counter on it can now tap for 1 green. It has been downshifted from a rare to an uncommon. Oh, has Rishkar seen better days? So sad. I remember this used to be a powerhouse in standard. Now it's been reduced to a common. Anyway, uncommon. My bad. Uncommon. Cartographer's Hawk, white and 1 for a 2/1 uncommon flying. Deals combat damage to a player who controls more lands and you return it to your owner's hand. If you do, search your library for a plains card, put it on the battlefield, tap, and then shuffle. Not worth a lot, but a sweet card for any commander deck when you just want to, for 2 white, punch somebody in the face and go fetch a land. I like this card. I like it a lot. I'm not lying. I think this is great. Glad to see it through printed. Next, we have Elysian Caryatid. Green and 1 for a 1/1. Add 1 mana of any color. If you have 4 power on the battlefield, it adds 2. Basic, better mana dork than normal. I believe this used to be an uncommon. It looks like it's been shifted down to common. Womp womp. Skyshroud Claim. Green and 3. Search your library for up to 2 forest cards. Put them in the battlefield, then shuffle. Yeah, it's pretty much a common these days. I mean, these search spells do a lot more than that these days. Battle Screech common. White and 2. Create 2 1/1 bird creature tokens with flying. You can flash them back by tapping 3 creatures. It's a common. What do you want? It's fine. Next, we have Elite Scale Guard, white and 4 for a 2/3. When it enters the battlefield, you get to bolster 2. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on attacks, tap target creature defending player controls. Basically, the smallest creature gets bigger. If it's only this creature, this thing's a 4/5. It's fine for 5 mana plus the extra ability, but it's only an uncommon. Good for draft, yada, yada, yada. Katar's Wrath, downshifted from rare to uncommon. 2 white and 4. Destroy all creatures that can't be regenerated. If you have Threshold, which is 7 or more cards in your graveyard, instead destroy all creatures. Then create 2 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. Creatures destroyed this way can't be regenerated. Sad to see this card reduced to an uncommon. I remember this used to be a powerhouse. Next we have the Thriving Land Cycles in here. We expected this. Thriving is really big in Commander because you get a dual land that you get the color you want and then can choose a second color at the time, which gives them a lot of versatility, but I mean, it is what it is. It'll help with draft. Next, we have the Ashling the Pilgrim, 1 red and 1/1. Elemental Shaman for red and 1, put a +1/+1 counter on the Pilgrim. If this is the 3rd time you use this ability has resolved this turn, remove all +1/+1 counters from Ashling, and it deals that much damage to each creature and each player. Decent rare. It's not very expensive, though. Probably in the $1 range, but it's whatever. Next, we have the Star of Extinction. Yes, I translated this on the off chance someone doesn't know what this card is because it's pretty... We'll just say it's not popular. Anyway, 2 red and 5. This thing does 20 damage to creatures and planeswalkers. This is basically the Extinction of the Dinosaurs from Ixalan. I mean, it's a fine card. It was very popular and got very pricey there for a while, but it's toned down now and is in the $1 bin. Wah, wah. Next, we have, however you say that, Augury. 2 blue and 6. Exile top 8 cards in your library. You may put a land card from among them on the battlefield until end of turn. For each non-land card type, you may cast a spell of that type among the exile cards without paying its mana cost. Decent card, fun free casting, very expensive, and also from the $1 bin. Next we have Falali Cyclonica, also known as Cyclonic Rift. Commander staple, very pricey card, but been driven down to the $5 to $10 range with massive reprints. A blue and 1, return target permanent to owner's hands. For a blue and 6, you can make everybody pick everything up but your stuff. Pretty sweet. Alms Collector, white and 3/3/4 rare flash. When an opponent would draw 2 or more cards, instead you and that player each draw a card. Very nice. Again, though, $1 bin. We have Obnixilis. This is a decent reprint. This is a rare Obnixilis. Doesn't see a whole lot of stuff going on. It's a Planeswalker. It's legendary. I mean, it's fine, I guess. I mean, it is what it is. This is from the Commander supplemental sets, so yeah, whatever. It's a couple bucks. Angelic Field Marshal, 2 white and 2 for a 3/3 flyer with Lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, he gets +2/+2, and creatures you control have Vigilance. So 5/5 for 4. I mean, it's fine. $1 bin rare, I guess. Great picture. Champion's Helm. 3 colorless. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. As long as its creature is legendary, has hexproof. Equips for 1. It's an okay card. Like the art, but yeah. The Ready to Scrap Servant's been reprinted from, I believe, Battle Bond. Red and 3. Loyalty 3 Planeswalker. You discard 2 cards for a +2, then draw that many cards. Sacrifice an artifact. If you do, return target artifact from graveyard to your battlefield. -10, you get an emblem with whenever an artifact is put in the graveyard from the battlefield, return that to the battlefield. Beginning your next end step. It can be your commander. A couple dollars at best. Sower of Discord. 2 black and 4 rare for a 6/6 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, choose 2 players. Whenever damage is dealt to one of those chosen players, the other chosen player also loses that much life. Not a real expensive card. It's kind of cool, especially if there's 2 people left. Choose yourself and your opponent. But that also kills you too. It's complicated. It's complicated. But in big nad-looking group games, it's pretty funny to lay this, name 2 other people, and start slapping them. But yeah, it's a couple dollars. Best. Savage Beating. 2 red and 3 instant. Only cast during your turn, only during combat. Choose one. Creature control gains double strike in the turn, or untap all creatures you control after this phase. There's additional combat, and you can entwine it for 2. So for 7, you get both. This saw a lot of hype a while back and had the price driven up pretty high. It's since retracted, and even now is only in the $10 to $20 range, unfortunately. So better than nothing, I guess. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of duds lately. Next we have Mystic Confluence. 2 blue and 3. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Counter target spell lets the controller pays 3. Return target creature to its owner's hand and draw a card. It's like Cryptic Command, but worse. Or maybe better. Hell, who knows. But it is something. Doesn't see a whole lot of play, though. It's probably about $1. Moving on. Grand Abolisher. Hot damn, do we have a card worth something? 2 white for a 2/2 human cleric. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. This is actually still a $20 plus card with this reprinting. And the art sweet. By Joe, we finally got something of value. I guess. Moving on. Next we have Neheb the Eternal. This was uncalled for. 2 red and 3 for a legendary zombie Minotaur warrior. Flick 3. Which means if someone blocks it, they lose 3 life anyway. It's only a 4/6. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, add 1 red for each 1 life your opponents have lost this turn. Pretty cool. Not a good mythic, though. Only $1 at best. Doesn't see a whole lot of play. Next, we have Magus of the Wheel. Said nobody ever who wanted a reprint of this thing. I mean, on the bright side, for a red and 2, you get a 3/3 dude that you can, for a red and 1, sacrifice later for each player, discard their hand, draw 7 cards. Basically, it's a Wheel of Fortune with legs. If it doesn't die immediately after being played, which is probably what's going to happen. Great art, but this is not an expensive card by any stretch of the imagination. Dollar bin. Next, we have Fairy Artisans. Blue and 3 for a 2/2 flyer. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's an artifact in addition to other types. Then exile all other tokens created with Fairy Artisans. Great card. Cheap card. But hey, what do you want from a set that's, $400 a box? We expect cards worth money? Anyway, moving on. Next we have Extra Planar Lens. So 3 colorless with imprint. When it enters the battlefield, you exile target land you control. When a land with the same name as the Extra Planar Lens, as the card exile with Extra Planar Lens is tapped for mana, that controller adds 1 mana of that type that land could produce. Basically gives you your very own mana flare, whatever you want to call it. But in Commander, when you're playing a lot of different colors, and most of the time you aren't playing a bunch of the same land, and the lens ain't really doing a whole lot, people don't really play it, yada yada. It is what it is. Anyway, moving on. Hellkite Charger. Alright, 2 red and 4 for a 5/5 flying haste dragon. When it attacks, you may pay 2 red and 5, which will definitely happen the first turn you play it. Not. If you do, untap all attacking creatures after this phase. There's an additional combat phase. Cool thing about this is it doesn't say that you can't do it over and over. So if for some ungodly reason you have, I don't know, some way to untap all your stuff by casting a spell so you have infinite mana, you can infinitely attack. But that's going a long way, and this is a lot of mana, and this is only worth $1. And anyway, moving on. Next we have Brass Knuckles, which is what we're getting to the groin from these leaks. 4 colorless. When you cast this spell, you copy it, because you get it, Knuckles, 2 hands. Anyway, equipped creature has double strike as long as 2 or more equipments are attached to it. Get it? 2 or more Brass Knuckles. Anyway, moving on. It's a fine card, I guess. We have Windrider Wizard. I mean, for a common, I guess, a blue 2 for 2/2 flying. Cast instant or sorcery spell, you draw a card. If you do, discard a card. I mean, it's great for draft, whatever. Blood Aspirant, red and 1/1/1. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Sacrifice a creature or enchantment. Aspirant deals 1 damage to a creature. That creature can't block this turn. Great for draft. It was very powerful in draft, and that was really about it. Lorthos, the Tidemaker. 5 blue and 5 for a rare 8/8. When it attacks, you may pay 8 colorless. If you do, tap up to 8 target permanents. Those permanents don't untap during controller's next untap step. Don't worry, everybody plays this, I swear. Said no one ever. I mean, it's fine. I've seen this every now and then in Commander, but let's be honest. If you're playing this in Commander, you're not casting it for 8 mana. You're cheating it into play, and then what's the point? Because you don't have 8 mana to tap 8 things. And anyway, it's a $1 bin card. Moving on. Avatar of Slaughter. 2 red and 6 for an 8/8. All creatures have double strike and attack each combat if able. This could be a very bad thing if your opponent is winning. This is at best $1, and I don't even think it sees play. Next, we have Wretched Confluence. 2 black and 3 instant. You may choose the same thing more than once and choose 3 things. Sound familiar? Target player draws a card, loses a life. Target creature gets -2/-2 the turn. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. $1 rare at best. Alright, moving on. Next, we have Wake the Dead. 2 black and X. Cast this spell only during combat on the opponent's turn. Return X creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Sacrifice those cards at the beginning of your next end step. That is if they don't chump block themselves to oblivion, which is what would probably happen if you play this card. But even though that's probably what's going to happen, this is not a high dollar card. It's $1 at best. It's an ambush in black and whatever. Archfiend of Despair. There's something worth a little bit of money that got a reprint to make sure it's not worth anything. 2 black and 6 for a 6/6 flying. Your opponents can't gain life. At the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life that player lost this turn. Meaning if you punch them in the face for 5, then cast this, they lose another 5. This is often cheated into play in Commander and some other formats, honestly. Good card, but with this printing, it's probably going to make it a little cheaper than it needs to be. Next we have Braze, Conjure Adepts. Just what we always wanted, said no one. 2 blue and 2 for a 2/2. We get the black one, we get the blue one. It's whatever. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player may put an artifact, creature, or land card from their hand on the battlefield. It's show and tell for 4 blue and 2/2 that everybody gets every turn. And your opponent gets it first, which means Braze is probably going to die after they put something big and ugly on the battlefield, so people don't normally play this. Moving on. Next we have Minds Aglow. 1 blue sorcery has joined forces. Starting with you, each player must pay an amount of mana. Each player draws X cards, where X is the total amount of mana paid this way for 1 blue. Great card for a big natty-licking game, especially if you want to get it over quick by everybody drawing cards and just going ham. But still not worth anything, so it's a couple dollars best. And we have Lifeblood Hydra. 3 green and X for a rare. As Trample enters the battlefield with X counters on it, where as enters the battlefield, +1/+1 counters on it equal to X. When Lifeblood Hydra dies, you gain life and draw cards equal to its power. I mean, it's fine, but I mean, I'd rather just have a big giant jellyfish that flies, costs 1 less, kind of does the same thing. But hey, why play one when you can play both, right? It's still the $1 bin. So yeah. So there you have it. There's our leaks for today, 7/12. Sadly, the best thing we've got spoiled so far is some of the cards from Portal when there's only a couple and the medallions. The rest of the cards are coming in way under $20, which means as of right now, the odds of opening a pack and getting your money's worth out of that pack doesn't seem to be what's really going to happen, as these card prices are coming in way below what the older cards are worth. A, because of reprints, and B, because I'm not sure people are going to buy the set a whole lot when it's so expensive. So we'll talk about that later, though. So these are the leaks. Till next time, be kind. Hope to see you across from the game table. Maybe even at Gen Con. It's coming up 3 weeks. Woo. Yeah.